Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Recovery Classroom. My name is Drew. I'm an alcoholic, and today I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I could not be any more grateful. I want to take a minute real quick and just wish all of our retired and currently active servicemen and women in uniform a very happy Memorial Day. Thank you guys for what you have done, what you continue to do, and allowing me to have the freedoms that I have. I don't ever want anybody to think I take my freedoms and my liberties for granted, because I don't. So I want to say thank you, and I hope that all of you who take a minute throughout your day to think back to all of those all those people who lost their lives for us to enjoy the freedoms that we have today. It's very important we do that. I want to talk today about the real alcoholic or the real drug addict. And when I say real, I mean the way Bill articulates on page 21. Now, what he's doing in this chapter, there is a solution. He's trying to give us a framework, a guide. Not an absolute, you got point 1, point 2, point 3. No. Just trying to give us a guide on how we can determine if we're addicted or if we're an alcoholic. He lays it all out there for us. And he starts out by saying, at some point of his drinking career, he begins to lose all control of his liquor consumption once he starts to drink. Now, this is very consistent with what Dr. Silkworth wrote in the doctor's opinion. Once he starts to drink, he begins to lose all control of his liquor consumption. Once you put that first drug in you, do you lose all control of how much you use after that? I know, I looking back, that was totally me. I would put that first one in me. I always take that first drink, and man, I don't remember anything after that, because that became the second drink, and the third drink, and the fourth drink, and so on and so on. I heard this a long time ago. It's a pretty good analogy, somewhat confusing, but it's pretty good. Me who I am today, if I make that decision to take that first drink and to say, oh, I'm only going to have one, okay, that might be a fair and rational decision. But the second I put that first drink in me, I become a different person. That drink creates a different line of thinking in my brain. So I become a different person. And so now I've got a second person. And that second person is now in charge. Not me, not the first person, but that second person. And so that second person goes, oh, I can have another. The first person may not have made that choice. The first person may have said, oh no, we're only doing one. But that first person is no longer in control. It's the second person. So the second person goes, hey, sure, I can have another. I'll put another one in. Well, hell, now I've added a whole new person to the mix. Person number 2 thinks differently than person number 1. Now person number 3, after I put the second drink in me, person number 3 thinks entirely different from person number 2 and person number 1. Talk about speaking in the third person. It was a great joke. Anyway, what happens here is once we take that first drink, once we use that first drug, we become somebody entirely different. And we begin to lose all semblance of rationale and reason and logic. He goes on to write, he has a positive genius for getting tight at exactly the wrong moment, particularly when some important decision must be made or some important engagement must be kept. How many times can you look back over your drinking or drugging career and go, yeah, I had that job interview, or yeah, I had to go do this. And right before it, man, you put one in you. And next thing you know, you done fucked up. You missed out, or you lost an opportunity. Because in your mind, you're thinking, oh, I can use just once. I can take just one drink. But lo and behold, the second you put that first drink in you, you become somebody entirely different. He even talks about, in the middle of the page, he says he's a real Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He is seldom mildly intoxicated. In other words, if he's drinking, he's not mildly intoxicated. He's just downright drunk. You're downright high, right? We can't put that first one in us. That's the bottom line here. That's the moral of the story, is once we put that first one in us, our thinking changes. The thoughts and the logic and the reasoning in our brain changes. We become somebody different. We become that Jekyll and Hyde character, right? And he sums it up so perfectly on page 23. He says, therefore, the main problem of the alcoholic centers in his mind rather than his body. See, keep in mind, we have two problems at hand. We have the obsession of the mind and the physical allergy. The physical allergy, we don't trigger the physical allergy until we take that first drink, until we take that one hit, right? That one drug. Once we take that one hit, once we take that first drink, we trigger the physical allergy. And we trigger the phenomenon of craving. And that's why it's so hard for us. That's why we can't take just that one drink or use just that one drug. That's why it becomes so difficult. At the end of the day, what we have here is not a physical problem. Sure, we have a physical allergy. But if I'm allergic to peanuts, well, hell, I just stay away from peanuts. If I'm allergic to fish, I just stay away from fish. Somewhere along the line, I go, you know what? I've been a good boy. I haven't had fish for 90 days. Hell, I got a 90-day chip to say that I haven't had fish, right? And I decide to run down to my Red Lobster or whatever. Next thing you know, boy, I'm back off to the races. Hell, I'm in the hospital because I'm maybe allergic to fish. We do the same thing with our drugs and our alcohol. We have the physical allergy. We have the physical condition, but the problem, that's not the problem. The problem is in our thinking, is in our mind. And we start obsessing over it. So what do we do? How do we break that obsession? Well, Bill articulates that in chapter 4, the very first line of chapter 4, actually the very first paragraph of chapter 4, actually. He brings that up and he reminds us that, if and when you're honestly want to, you cannot find or you cannot quit entirely, or if when drinking you have little control over the amount you take, you are probably alcoholic. Our human resources, as marshaled by the will, were not sufficient. They failed utterly, meaning whatever willpower we thought we had, it ain't going to work because we have a problem in our thinking. We have a problem in our mind, the way we think. Lack of power, that was our dilemma. We had to find a power by which we could live, and it had to be a power greater than ourselves. That power greater than me is whom I choose to call God. So, with that being said, I'll let you guys go. Thank you guys for letting me come in and share 5 to 10 minutes of your day with you. You guys absolutely keep me sober, and I could not be any more appreciative. If you have a topic you'd like to hear discussed, feel free to drop it in the Recovery Classroom private group Facebook page. It's a private group. We maintain anonymity there. So I want to encourage you to drop it in there. Or you can email it to me directly, Drew, D-R-E-W, at recoveryclassroom.org. I'll take a look at it and see how we can parse it out. Quick reminder, tomorrow night, Crosstalk Tuesday. Eric will be there leading the charge. Come on down, hang out with a group of like-minded drunks and drug addicts, all who are sitting around talking about how we got sober and how we're planning on staying clean and sober. So we'll see you there. Remember, guys, you can't get drunk if you don't take that first drink.